On the 20th, the organist David Bryson will play for us, and on the 27th of August, the violinist Lisa Tanner will play for us. They both live in this country and shouldn't have any problems with quarantining. But the way things are, don't hold your breath. Well, it's probably a good idea to hold your breath, actually, but that's another matter. Let's not go there. So we come to this afternoon. Thank you for coming. Not only is this a wonderful concert, but it's also our church's opportunity to raise money for the charity Christian Aid. One of the difficulties over the last 18 months, the effect of the pandemic, is that traditional fundraising opportunities have not been able to take place. So it's meant we've not had the opportunity as a church to raise the money that we might usually do for that particular charity. So this afternoon, any money that is given will be used for that charity, and there will be plates available as you leave, refreshments as well, and there are also particular envelopes issued by Christian Aid if you wish to give directly to them. But we're grateful for your generosity and thank you for that. Today's concert nearly didn't happen because just over a week ago our guest pianist managed to fall off his boat and dislocate his shoulder. So we all feared the worst at that point. But just like Alan Wynne-Jones, and those of you who know your rugby, miracle recoveries from dislocated shoulders, he's back on the rugby field and Masa's back at the keyboard. So will you please give a very warm welcome indeed to Masa Tayama.
Thank you very much indeed. It's lovely to be back, and well, today we're going to start with Beethoven's Tempest. I remember coming here for many years now to give recitals, and it always used to be Rachmaninoff, but at the moment I'm recording the complete piano sonata cycle, so now it's suddenly a lot of Beethoven. Tempest is quite new for me as well. It was a delight. One of the great things about doing a complete cycle of anything is that it's a bit self-indulgent, but it does make one discover pieces that one has never performed before. And this is certainly one such work. Beethoven, of course, is very well known for his temperament and his anger and frustration, which is abundant in his Appassionata, Pathetique, practically throughout his sonatas. But this one, I feel there's an element that he's almost pleading to fate rather than fighting against fate. So there's a unique change to his tone throughout particularly the third movement, and there is again the motive of his Fate Symphony that still appears throughout the work. It's very interesting. I do like to highlight these motives whenever they come out more than necessary. I don't know whether you will notice. We'll see. Three movements of Beethoven's Tempest to start. Thank you all very much for coming today. Thank you very much indeed. Now it is quite warm today, so I thought to now play a collection of more refreshing works by Chopin. So I'm going to play 5 pieces, 2 very well known, the Nocturne in E-flat major, and then the Waltz in D-flat major, the Minute Waltz. The E-flat major Nocturne, very famous. I always compare it to the Nocturne by John Field in the same key, which John Field, the Irish composer, really invented, devised the concept of the Nocturne, the night piece. And I do enjoy playing his Nocturne. It really has the serenity, the peacefulness, and it really does depict the night piece. Very, very appropriate. Whereas Chopin does tend to stylize these traditional forms of music, and so it does have a lot more of the emotional and spiritual output within his Nocturne. But I can imagine why this Nocturne has become so popular and so famous. There would be a reason for it, and hopefully I can share that with you today. The Minute Waltz, well known for the play as fast as you can, but I actually treated the word minute more as a minute detail rather than as fast as you can, particularly the middle section. There's a lot of lyrical, gorgeous section. It's a shame to just skip through all those. So if you've got a stopwatch, you will find it will take longer than a minute. So those 2 works. Following that, I will play 3 works, the Etudes, Opus 10, number 3, 8, and 12. Those are really my favorites out of the set of Opus 10 that he had written. By this time in the Romantic period, the Industrial Revolution really allowed the mass production of pianos, and the print technology, of course, was much more advanced as well. So we didn't need copies to copy out every single score. So inevitably there were more pianists and more teachers, and there became the necessity for technical exercises. And Hanon is all very well known for that very mechanical, no music at all, pure exercise work. But Chopin turned it really, that's an extreme end, but really Chopin turned it into an art form. So we have the number 3, otherwise known as the Farewell. Technically, it doesn't sound like there's anything really challenging, except for it's all about the voicing and bringing out the melodies and making sure that the chords are finely balanced as we progress through these progressions. So that's number 3. Number 8 is clearly an exercise for the right hand in F major. This is a much more upbeat repertoire, following all the Tempest and all that. A much more upbeat repertoire in F major, but again the left hand being very important. And finally, number 12, the Revolutionary Etude. We of course know that Chopin, whilst enjoying a quite successful social life in Paris, he never set foot back to his homeland of Poland following the revolution, and this was one piece that he wrote with that in mind, the Revolutionary. Again, this one, on the other hand, is a contrast to number 8. It's really the exercise for the left hand, but we all know the famous tune really is played by the right hand, so in a way the shaping of the right hand is more important. So a collection of short Chopin works, the Nocturne, Waltz, and then 3 Etudes for the middle of the concert. And then we will still have the Impressionist period to follow. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. We now move on to the Impressionist period. The French composers Ravel and Debussy, although we are aware that they didn't really like to be referred to as Impressionist composers, their art form, the composition was slightly different to that of the what we know very well of Impressionism painting. Yet certainly for the themes, the Ravel Judo to start with, otherwise translated as water games or fountain, playful water. They are certainly, the theme of water is certainly not, you cannot separate the theme of water and the Impressionism period. And this is one such work. And Franz Liszt already wrote the Judo à la Villa d'Este. This was influenced literally by this fountain in this mansion of Villa d'Este. And of course, so therefore, Ravel would have been aware of this, and he wrote his own version of the fountain. And basically, the fountain, of course, the water goes up and down constantly, and it never follows the same route or same shape or same color. And I always find it quite amusing when I'm performing this. Am I being the water? Am I being the movement? Or am I just observing the movement of the water from afar? So this is always a fascination of mine. And to conclude the recital this afternoon is L'Île Joyeuse by Debussy. This was actually influenced by the painting, the Embarcation to the Isle of Citerre. So it is a very joyful work. This is known to have been written when Debussy was at his happiest in his life. So to conclude, two works from the Impressionism period, Ravel, Judo, and L'Île Joyeuse by Debussy. Thank you all very much for coming. Thank you.
I just whispered to Masa, have you got a little piece up your sleeve? And yes, he has. So once again, Masa Tayama.
Some of you may know or have even seen it in the Suburb news that we've just started a canal boat concert series on the Grand Union, and the vessel's called Rachmaninoff because Rachmaninoff's works has been such a part of my life, and it was just so appropriate. And as the concert cruises have started, it had to be that we had to put a bit of Rachmaninoff in the programs. So this is the one such piece, Melody in E major by Rachmaninoff, this is Opus 3, so this was written when he was still very much influenced under the likes of Chopin, Schumann, and Brahms. But the accompaniment has a certain lilt and a rocking, almost like a water lapping against the bank. And it's just became such a favorite of ours that it's actually featured as a theme music for our YouTube channel, if you haven't. Nothing to do with piano playing, well, very little to do with piano playing, but it has been featured sort of like a theme tune, so it's become a sort of quite a favorite and a staple repertoire. So Rachmaninoff's Melody in E major, up my sleeve to finish this afternoon's recital. Thank you all very much again for coming.
just to say thank you for coming today. Trust you've enjoyed it. Could you all please leave by the door at the West End, unless you're not able to do that. There are some refreshments that will be served, so if you're able to stay around, it'd be lovely to have you join us in the church garden for those. And as I say, donations will be received as you leave the church. But thank you for your generosity in giving of your time today, and also what you will give as you leave. But will you once again show your appreciation for Masa Tayama? You'll probably come out and have a cup of tea, so there we go.